Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the final word. West Bromwich Albion 0, Everton 1. Another 3 points on the road. Getting us. Well, it got us to fourth for a little bit.
Yeah, touch fourth.
We touched.
As Carlo said.
And we're sitting nice and pretty in fifth place now. Yeah, a couple of teams below us. Oh, whatever. Don't mention them. Yeah, another 3 points, Baz. Hard fought. Not a great game. Not pretty on the eye, but job done.
Yeah, 9th away win out of 13, which is incredible. And it was a game that if anyone expected different, then I don't know who they've been watching. So, Sam Allardyce's team playing against us, we're quite, defensive structure away from home, and he sets up organised. So it was always going to be a tight game, and it was always really going to be a game won by the odd goal. And given that West Bromwich Albion don't score a lot of goals this season, it was key that Everton got themselves in front, because it meant they'd have to come on to us then. But it's a win, and at this stage of the season, I'd rather be sat here talking about us winning than sat here saying, we played fantastic football, but we lost or whatever. So the win was the most important thing.
I can't actually remember the last time we did play fantastic and lost, but that doesn't really matter at this stage. No, it's at stage of the season, or just this season, just with everything going on. It's not a. Listen, we are who we are, aren't we? We're not a. The early start of the season, the early wins sort of pointed to this fantastic footballing side, but Carlo Ancelotti has found the way he feels like the best way to win games, which is be tight at the back, be organised, and try and nick a goal, whether it be set piece or whatever. And it's working, it's getting us points. What it does is, listen, you hear the expression covering over the cracks, papering over the cracks, whatever. It does, because at the end of the day, we're not a free-flowing football side, but that's just not who we are at this stage. We can have moments of playing good football, but we don't have great ball retention. The team hasn't got a balance as such yet. So yeah, this is what we're doing in the meantime. And I've heard people go, but what about this or what about that? Who cares at this stage? We're trying to get a European place. That was the objective for this year. We've had loads of injuries, and we're trying to get to a place, and hopefully we can get to the place and be, what we are, and then that will allow us to get to the next place, which is all what we want, isn't it? At the end of the day, so it's great.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you've got to look at. It's no good having a style of play and not getting results. Brighton play nice football and they're 16th in the Premier League, don't win games, and I think you can get carried away with this philosophy or this. You see, I don't agree with papering over the cracks, because if you're not a good team, you get beat. End of. And is there going to be a certain way of playing? Well, we were all made up with the opening 4 or 5 games because we were playing attacking football, but people were moaning because we were letting goals in. So I don't think there's any, unless you're Manchester City, everybody else is doing the same kind of thing. Everybody else has got patterns of play at times, and other times they look. I've seen every team play quite a few times this season, and with the exception of Manchester City, the football's not great from any of them, really. There's moments in every game, and Everton are the same. Everton have moments in games where they look easy on the eye, and then other times they're all over the place, and it's that balance, like you said, is what it is. And for us to get better and become better to watch, it takes better players. I want us to be more attractive on the eye, but at the end of the day, it's about getting results. That's all that matters. And if we get results being defensive and nicking goals, so be it. You're really good at Everton, really good at playing defensive football and winning games. They proved it this season, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. That at the moment, that is all that matters. Getting the points, getting the wins, getting the clean sheets, and getting up the league. That's all that matters at the moment. And we started this game, a couple of changes. Wobie came in, Bernard came in, and Yeah, you can understand what he was trying to do. Go a bit more 4-4-2, match them up. Trying to get Richarlison and obviously Dominic Calvert-Lewin into the game. Never really worked, did it? Because we just couldn't. The quality from Bernard and Iwobi wasn't significant enough to create chances to get the front two in. We started slowly. I think we knew what they were going to do. They were going to try and hit us early. He did put his best team out. Even though he tried to catch us early, tried to catch us cold. We're not great starters of games. We always look a little bit nervy in the first 5 minutes. Jordan Pickford's had to pull off a terrific save to keep it at 0-0 early. But I thought once we got past 15 minutes, we just started to find our feet. We were the only one ever who really had any kind of control of the ball. We found it difficult to create things, but that was more from us. And I think if there was a frustration from this game, it was that we had good opportunities and it was us who wasted them. I didn't think they particularly defended amazingly or did anything amazing. I thought it was more down to us not using the ball correctly more than anything else. And if there is a disappointment from the game, that would be the only one really.
Yeah, I thought they were okay for a team that's second to bottom. I thought they were well organised, which is what Sam Allardyce does really well. And I thought they had a go, but there's a lack of quality in their team, and you see that. I thought the Agnew up front was a handful, without being brilliant, but he was a handful. We had to watch him. But we did restrict a lot of them. Pereira was in and out for them. But Everton did, like you say, Pickford made a really good save inside 2 minutes. And that was really all they done all night. I've only noticed it. The only real save he had to make all night. He had a Pereira shot that was straight at him. And I think Matt Phillips had a shot from about 35 yards, which was straight at him as well. And other than that, he huffed and puffed like we did. Though. We were the same. I wouldn't sit here and say any different. We were the same. But I think, with Everton, what we're getting from a defensive standpoint, which was fine. So you're comfortable when teams come onto us. But you're right, we didn't use the ball well. Gomez had a decent game, but it's all in the wrong area of the pitch for me. It's like he gets the ball so many times and there's a big load of space in front of him and it's too safe. He'll turn and pass it back rather than taking a chance. And Bernard was the same. Bernard would pop up in areas and you think, right, we can get in behind now, and he'd slow the game down or hesitate, pass it back. We couldn't get Luca Dean in enough. And it was just those moments. And the one thing I did think, though, to be fair, overall, was that they looked like a team that had had 5 days rest, and we looked like a team that had had 2.5 days rest. They just had a little bit more energy than we did, which made, when we were hesitating in the middle of the park, particularly in the first half, we were nicking it. Like the Corey a couple of times done brilliantly and then flicked balls which weren't even on and they broken. Gomez had one early, we worked it out of defence brilliantly, and it come to him and he just played a blind pass, and Holgate was on the run, but he was never getting it, and they nicked in and we've had to come and get men behind the ball. And it's those little moments where take a little bit more care, we would have been in. And we didn't really fashion that many chances, did we? Certainly not in the first half. We had a good little move that got the Richarlison in the lad makes a good block. Didn't he? We had a couple of times we worked it really well out to Iwobi, and one he over it to the corner flag with an atrocious cross. And the other one he stopped. So everyone's running. He stopped the ball, almost like faced the lad up, and then done that thing with where he seemed to kick it with his heel. Like, you know what I mean? The way he hits it here and tries to curl it. And there was no way to
put it in a danger area.
We saw it. We saw it Burnley. When, ironically, we started this good. We started getting good results away from home. When he played like right wing back and right back in the game. And he put 3 or 4 brilliant crosses in because he got it out of his feet and put it in front of everybody so the likes of Dom could go at it. When you stop against a team who's got good defensive shape like West Brom, the minute you stop, everyone picks the men up. And it's going to take an absolute worldie of a ball to pick out Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's primarily the person you're looking for. So if he starts putting them in the corridor of uncertainty between the defence and the keeper, at least we can have men running onto it. And that's the one thing we didn't do. And the other thing was we couldn't get the Corey high enough up the pitch because we were concerned when if we give the ball away. He did try it in a couple of times, it got cut out, and Gomez notably did sit in for him. But it was just that little bit. There was like good play, but
I think Bernard and Iwobi very similar in terms of they do things that the forwards don't really want them to do. I found a few times Bernard would get the ball, and instead of just putting balls into good areas, he'd stop or play like a blind pass or a fade pass or or stop, and then the forwards have already gone. So you have to, and Iwobi's always guilty of that. Iwobi does it all the time, where, like you were saying then, the forwards are going and they just want it fired in because they know that whatever happens, at least they've got a chance. And then he stops and put his foot on it, and then the centre forwards have to go back again and then go back again. And once you've got men behind the ball, you find it very, very difficult. That's maybe where you need a full-back bombing past you, certainly on the right. Iwobi needs that right-back. I think he is that kind of player. He needs a right-back. Mason Holgate's not going to do that for you, of course. Did a little bit in the second half, but I think the forwards both suffered from that by not having... Because West Brom were just doing what you knew they were going to do. What we do is get men behind the ball, stop the space. You don't want Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin having space to run into. So I thought we just found it really difficult. And the best chance we got, obviously, was Dom just before half-time, which obviously took a ricochet, and I don't know whether he was ready for or set, but I think, we all know that's the kind of chance he's got to get better at. He's got to get better at those kind of finishes, which will just drop it to you 12 yards out. You've got to be able to hit somewhere in the target that... They're the probably ones that all week he doesn't train them with a problem, but for some reason they don't. When they drop to him in a game, he can't he can't find a corner or hit the back of the net essentially.
He should have gone at it with his left foot. For me, he should have just swept it with his left foot because it was rolling. He had to let it roll right the way across his body, readjust his foot, and as he hit it, Sam Johnston's made a good save, albeit it was close to him. And they are the moments that he needs to be a little bit more clinical. We know that reacting to things between the posts, he's quite good at, and around the 6-yard box, he's great in the air. And he's got better and better and better at it. Now the next bit of his development is to be more clinical with those opportunities. We've seen a few lately. I'm thinking of the one at Leeds when he's one-on-one. He's got to learn to start thinking it over the keeper. That wasn't the same one last night because it broke back off a defender. But that's why just going in with your left foot and just placing it first time, but the keeper's got a chance to set. Because you're letting the ball roll right the way across your body. You're having to adjust anyway because you want it on the foot. Whereas if it's coming, if he just stays it first time, you've got a chance of catching the keeper unawares. And luckily it didn't. In the grand scheme of things, it didn't matter that it was a good opportunity missed. But there was those moments in the first half where we broke nicely, but it was I'm screaming, have shots. Bernard 3 or 4 times, it opened up, the whole thing opened up ahead of him because they backed off. And it's like, go in and have a shot then. And he'd wait and stop and then try to curl a cross in. And when from a standing position where Dom's standing next to Bartley, who's a big lad as well, they're just going to be heading them away all day long. You've got to catch people running back towards their own goal so that they don't know how to defend it. And that was we were guilty of anything really in the first half. It was making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
I thought like I said, Gomez got on the ball, was nice and strong. My only criticism of him there was that he didn't get into those zones where he could have, travelled with the ball. The core, he was all action like he always is, but was sloppy in his play. So there was moments we couldn't get Luca Dean in enough down the left-hand side. But they are well drilled, and we had to be aware at the other end of the threat they carried because they did, big side and be careful not to give free kicks and corners away. And in the main, we did that quite well. But, at half-time at 0-0, you're thinking there's room for improvements here. And if we can just step it up a little bit, then this is here for the 3 points.
Well, we had the 3 on the bench, didn't that? We knew we were going to probably get more. We're going to get on the pitch and change the way things were. And obviously, Alan come on and Gylfi Sigurdsson, they were the big 2 that changed the game. For me, Alan, I just thought his substitution just changed the whole shape of our team. and allowed us to. I know, you know, we were talking about the numbers last night. His numbers don't look amazing, but it's just his presence on the pitch and how suddenly he just became not like a one-man midfield, but he allowed Gomez just to move a little bit further forward. And you were saying before about having maybe, you know, the going backwards too much. I think Alan's just always on the front foot. He wants to go forward, and you know, his presence in front of that back four just changed the shape, and I think just put us a little bit higher up the pitch.
We moved up the pitch 15 yards and played in their half. And if you think of that second half and you watch it back, compared to the first half where we were getting the ball deeper, Gomez was having to travel with the ball under Corey. We were forcing them further and further back, and he just come on. And it is the intangibles. You look at the Corey's numbers and they're good. Yeah. You know, the passing's good, and Gomez's numbers are 87% passing accuracy, I think, and 16 ball recoveries, you'd say before, which is more than any players after 3 years or something like that. So working off the ball and nicking the ball back, very good. What Alan did was he took us that bit further up the pitch, and he just anchors that midfield so well. He knows the role of what he should be doing. Okay, he's not a natural number 6. He isn't. He likes to go and press, but I think he's very aware of what Carlo Ancelotti wants, and he went in there and he just steadied that and gave us a little bit of a better shape. And obviously we brought Gylfi Sigurdsson on as well not long after him, and that was when we not only got the goal, but we had a big measure of control him for the rest of the game.
Yeah, because we kept the ball better as well. That's the other side of it. We kept it, and we started to probe higher up the pitch and get into areas where we were more effective. Richarlison started to get a little bit more into the game. Started, you know, and anytime, you know, they were trying to do what they were doing, Alan was the screen in front of them and was just picking up the ball, and very similar to what we've seen Tom Davies do. So it, you know, I just thought he changed the game massively. But obviously, as you mentioned there, Gylfi Sigurdsson come on. His first action was to throw a corner in, and obviously he come back to him and he put in a great ball. Richarlison got there ahead of the goalkeeper, and it's 1-0. And in a game like this, you know, it is always it's funny because we've had these games at home, and it is that just getting that first goal, and the likes of Leeds, the likes of West Ham, the likes against Newcastle, they've managed to get it. Yeah, Fulham, they've got it before we have in these tight games, and that's all it was. And once we got that goal, I just thought we had an element of control. We kept the ball better, as I said, and we started to work them. We didn't get too many more chances, which is a disappointment. I think Dom had one where he put over. It was a half chance really, but you want him to be better from there. But we're learning to feel like we're learning to take the sting out of games. I'd like us to control it a bit more. I'd like us to have a little bit more of an element of relaxation and just control the game and use the ball, take the sting out the game. I think for the most part we did. You know, you're watching it and the clock's just ticking and nothing's really happening, but that's what you want, isn't it, in a lot of these games when you're 1-0 up?
That's what you need. The biggest issue, again, like you said before, we didn't really have outballs as such. I looked at that midfield, and before Alan come on, arguably only one of them would start when everyone's fully fit. You know, Gomez, maybe his form's getting better and better now, so maybe he's playing his way into the manager's thinking. But in an ideal midfield for me, we would have had Tom Davies in there and Alan Decore would go hunting, and then we'd have James Rodriguez in there. So to go there and have 3 of them out.
Allardyce did his classic thing, though, didn't he? Where, you know, when you're playing, maybe you're playing other teams, and you go 1-0 up and there's 15 minutes to go, he made a couple of subs, but it's not gung-ho. Allardyce has this thing where he's like, no, we keep it tight. They don't get another one. And we weren't encouraged to go up the pitch. So it was like, and then we'll get a chance. We'll get a chance. And that's the Allardyce way, isn't it? Even if you're 1-0 down, don't worry about it. Just don't come out. Because all you're going to do then is help them get another one, because they're better. And I think that was where we were, in that last 10 minutes, we were sort of caught a little bit between, you know, the devil and deep blue. Don't get me wrong, they weren't hitting us with much. They had a few little half chances and frays into the box, and we had to stand up and not do anything silly. And if it meant it went out for a throw or a corner or whatever, but we certainly weren't giving away any free kicks, or we weren't inviting the pressure on, and they certainly weren't putting it on. So I thought we'd done well from that point of view. I thought we could have done a little bit better maybe towards the end. Certainly when it went to injury time, I want us to be a little bit more aggressive of keeping the ball higher up the pitch. Certainly the goal, obviously they had the goal disallowed, which is marginal, but it's come from us, I think, not being aggressive enough high up the pitch. They play a long ball, Michael Keane loses the first header, then Ben Godfrey sort of just doesn't, probably again it's that thing, don't give away a free kick. Dean sort of the same, they get it out wide, and the lad does really well to take it down and score, but he's offside. And again, that comes from me not being higher up, be a bit more aggressive, get into the corners, force something out of them, don't let it come back so easy. So, it's not a minor complaint, because it could have led to them equalising, but it's just one of those things, isn't it?
It is that. I mean, there's the classic 5 minutes when Everton are playing, isn't it? Everyone else has had 3. Everyone gets 3. Even Liverpool, Chelsea, there was 3 minutes, and Tottenham, Fulham, I don't think was much more. And for Everton, it's always 5 minutes. But it was what it was. I mean, we had opportunity. Dom had put a fantastic ball in. It just, when we broke with Richarlison, he bent it right now. Gomez was coming in. It just didn't get there. So we'd had those moments on the counter-attack. Josh King had gone on a little run and just couldn't quite squeeze it across. So we've been threatening, but you're right, it's, with Allardyce, Snodgrass comes on and you're thinking, no silly free kicks, as we know that he's dangerous from dead balls. And he put Robson Kanu up front, didn't he, and went 2 up front, which made it a little bit more uncomfortable, because he's another big, strong lad, and you've got to try to get your head in first. But in general, Everton dealt with all of that. And you're right, I looked at the clock and it was like you're waiting for the time to go up, and you're thinking, just be 3 minutes for once. It was 5. And a minute and a half had gone and nothing had happened. And you're thinking, okay, we'll just keep doing this. And a few times we had the ball in the final third. We had it in their corner and we're holding it, messing with it. We got a throw in and we're into the 92nd minute with a throw in. And it's just sloppiness, really. It's a little bit more professionalism. Let them come into the back here and go down. Get yourself a throw in a corner.
Tom Davis.
The dark arts, isn't it? It's how you win. It's not, listen, we all want to see our team playing a bit like Man City and being able to score 6 5s and 6s, but we're not there yet. We're still short of that kind of player. So grind the results out, but be clever when you have to do. You were telling me before, Harry Kane in the Spurs game just got a free kick and smashed it to the other end of the pitch in the corner flag, because the least dangerous part of the pitch is their corner flag. We've got to be a little bit better at doing that. The chance come, you're right, because we didn't deal with that, but we got away with it because he could have been onside. He is offside. He's offside. It's clear. His foot's offside. So Everton will say, well, we got the line perfectly right, which apparently what Michael Keane said, we had the line perfect, which is okay, but let's not give those opportunities to teams. Let's stop crosses.
No, when we've got chances beforehand to deal with it.
So let's do that. But in general, like I said, they had the header from Diagne in the opening 90 seconds or whatever. And
he had a header in the second half.
He had a header in the second half off a throw, which again we didn't deal with particularly well, but Pickford could have fell on it. It wasn't like he had to make a great save from it. They had headed one over, didn't we, as well? We had the one that he thinks.
And they had one now. The lad in the box.
Faced it across. But they're all half chances. We had it with the Wobie, we had Richarlison clipping it across. We had things getting stood up. There was nothing clear cut. So from that perspective, the manager will say, all right, in the main, we defended really well. And it was a game and a win built on defence, wasn't it? And yes, we will need to be a little bit more offensive. We will need to be better in the final third, because we won't get those games where teams miss opportunities, and we have to have more than the one goal in us. But we were able to defend well.
Yeah, I said it wasn't a pretty game to watch, but we got the 3 points. Let's just have a look at the stats. 11 shots each, 3 on target each, 2 big chances, possession. We've just shaded it, and the passing. Passing's 50, it's only 50. So really, it's one of those games that West Brom will be looking on. You said this earlier to me in the season. I think it was Leeds, and you saying, well, that's it. Really should be a draw. You're on paper or XG or whatever.
And West Ham was the same. Yeah, it was a draw written all over it.
So the way it is this season, some, you know, you're losing points on one, but you're gaining them back on another. So it is what it was. But obviously we're talking massively about the defence, and it's another clean sheet, 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
But Mason Holgate stood out for you, didn't he?
He did. I've seen, you know, some people give him stick, and we know that. We know that he's not brilliant going forward, but defensively, excellent again for me. As we can see here, clearances 2, interceptions 2, 100% of his tackles, 6 tackles, the most on the pitch. Won 6 out of 9 ground duels, 3 out of 5 aerial duels. I thought there was another one. There is, Ned's just going back to you for some reason. 63 touches, 40 accurate passes, which gave him 93% passing accuracy and long ball 1.
And 1 nice standing on the ankle of a player.
I put the tackle in, tried to win the ball.
Yeah, when you say that.
Well, he'd leave him on against his old club. Yeah, I thought he was very good. I think the thing with Mason Holgate is, I think his deficiencies are shown up because we haven't got someone better in front of him at the moment. If we had obviously when James is there, James is amazing. And he creates a different way anyway. He comes inside and opens the pitch.
Yeah.
And Mason, if Mason Holgate was gonna be Everton's long-term right back, he would have to get better at overlapping. He'd have to get better at putting decent deliveries into the penalty area. But defensively, when he's in our defence, he's excellent.
Well, his job is to defend, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And there's no secret that he's played. He's been part of, 3 clean sheets in the last 3 games, Anfield and obviously Southampton and now West Brom. But I just thought he was really good. And if we had Leon Bailey ahead of him, or someone who's quick ahead of him as well, the emphasis would be on them. So he would just look after everything behind them, give the ball and let them go. And I don't think we'd worry about it as much because we'd have the Moroccan fullback in Luca Dean. I think Everton's issue is because we haven't got someone who's doing that role. Alex Iwobi, I've seen people call him the worst player they've ever seen, this, that, and he's not quite that. He's a good footballer, Iwobi, but there's no consistency level with him. You don't know from one week to the next how he's going to perform. He was in this game, the manager said he worked really hard and he had a decent game. Independent scoring from the likes of Sofa scoring, who scored Adam as like not one of the better players on the night. I didn't see that necessarily with my eyes because I think when he got in good areas, he wasted opportunities. But if we had someone who could play on that right, who was a real threat, I think Mason Holgate behind him will be a safe pair of hands. We know that Everton are probably going to look at, the link with Max Aarons.
Thing about it is, is if the team's got a more of a balance when he plays right back, he could still get forward. He got forward a couple of times towards the end. There was one where it's hard to take the full back on for pace. It's like know what you're good at and know what maybe you're not good at, and it's all right having pace, but can you run with the ball with pace? So
I just, again, like we said about Iwobi before, just get half a yard and put it in front of everyone. And if you do that, once it's left your foot, if you're Dominic Calvert-Lewin and you're Richarlison and he's got the ball out there and he's going to throw it in early, you can make your runs. Whereas if you don't know what he's going to do, it's the old Peter Beagley thing from years ago. It's like,
well, that's it. But forwards make instinctive runs as well. They make instinctive runs. Knowing that the ball's going to come. And if it doesn't come, they have to come back and reset. When they reset, that's what happens.
Definitely. And like I say, though, I just think he's been an important part of what we've done defensively. We've noticed when he's not been there, so people can turn around and go, he can't do this, he can't do that. When he's not there, we let goals in. He was excellent at Anfield, with Mark and Sadio Mane and things like that. So I thought he deserved singling out for me because I thought he had a really good game. There was others who had really good games as well, don't get me wrong, but I just thought, considering I've noticed people giving him a little bit of stick of late, talking about what he can't do, I thought it was important we focus on what he can do and what he can do really well.
Yeah, fair enough. Back forward, all done well.
Michael Keane. I think Keane, 93%. I think Godfrey was around 89%, won most of the battles. Luca Dean had the most touches. I think Luca Dean had 92 touches of the ball, which is the most on the pitch. So the back four did do well, and it's good that the keepers found nice and calm as well.
Yeah, definitely. Manager singled them out and said
His kicking against 70%,
was brilliant.
which is excellent for
kicking
a keeper.
is brilliant. It has. Again, though, I feel like the kicking's actually a good way of looking at how he's tightened. You know, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know,
When not just lashing it anywhere.
When the kicking's wayward and he's not, and he's throwing the arm up and he's giving the apologies, it feels like the concentration levels are not there. Because at the end of the day, very much like the game against Southampton, if you don't do nothing or you don't do anything for a large part of the game, then kicking will be a big thing where it's like, you know, we need this. You know, you see when he plays for England, it's why it's so important for England. It's been less of a thing for Everton over the years. It's become more this year. So if you're not having to make saves, but you need to keep those concentrations. Kicking's a really good way to look at it, and his kicking recently has been really spot on, and that means that he's tuned into the game. So when that big moment comes, like Southampton, you know, late in the game, in this game it comes early in the game. It's that he's ready, set for it. There's no, as we've been saying, there's no big aesthetics when he makes a save. He's just, you know, whatever it is that he's changed, and it does look like he's changed something. And the manager said, you know, he'll be rotated. It's because he has been rotated, and he'll be rotated again. And that's good. He's, you know, whatever anyone thinks of Robin Olsen or, you know, Virginia on the bench, there's two of them last night, wasn't it? If it's keeping him on his toes and it's meant he's gone away and questioned things, then that's good, because like we've always said, there's a goalie in there. We bought a good goalie.
Yeah.
And now, and hopefully we're starting to see the things we need to see. That'll make him a top goalie.
Definitely. You need him to just, if he's on his game and he's settled down, he's a very good goalie. And we see that with the clean sheets. It'll bore out with the clean sheets, and it bores out with, like you say, the kicking and the concentration levels. And if he's a good goalie, Everton will do well. You know, he doesn't have to be the best in the world. Will he be the best in the world? Probably unlikely. But I don't know. But he's a good goalkeeper, and we need him to get rid of the other stuff. I don't think technically people question his goalkeeping ability. I think it's the other stuff. Yeah. If he gets rid of the other stuff, then he's fine. No problem at all.
Yeah, there you go. I don't think there's too much more to talk about from this game, if I'm honest, because it wasn't great. And we move on to Chelsea on Monday night, and we can all just enjoy our weekend now, which is quite nice.
Pressure's on everyone else now.
Team's got to try and catch up with us now. Try and get the same points we have, or whatever. Leave them to it. There you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on this one. Make sure to give this video a like. If you liked Everton win, give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't, and if you want more great videos, if you want to watch the final word live like people are now, join us on Patreon. And in fact, this video will continue on Patreon, where we will get into a bit more stuff on the game and also the patrons' comments. So if you want to do that, there is a link in the description. There's also a little thing down here on the screen to come and join Patreon. If not, we'll see you on YouTube. See you later. So